A pleasant day, everyone. Our group made a position paper entitled For Their Motherland in Their Motherland, a position paper about transnational migration and overseas Filipino workers, to discuss a social reform that our group would want to implement.
We chose the topic transnational migration and OFWs since it is relevant, given the growing number of overseas Filipino workers. The group stands for the government to increase the quantity and quality of jobs in the Philippines. For the Filipino workers to have access to a wide range of jobs, safer workplaces, and better benefits, they will choose to stay in our country and offer services rather than work overseas.
According to the Philippine Statistics Authority, the nation sent around 2.2 million laborers in 2019, and 2 out of every 5 OFWs work as domestic helpers, while the rest work in sales, factories, and other professional labor. However, being an overseas Filipino worker is not as simple as it appears to be, because OFWs encounter a variety of difficulties in their everyday lives.
As an OFW, you have limited time for yourself and your family, and can only visit your home country once or twice a year, which will cause you to experience homesickness. Also, working abroad exposes you to a new culture, resulting in a cultural divide. And the most concerning issues that OFWs encounter are abuse and contract violations from their employers.
There are almost 5,000 instances of abuse recorded against OFWs in 2020, with nearly 90% cases coming from the Middle East, based on the presented data by the Senate Labor Committee. Could you imagine the pain and suffering that our OFWs have to endure to earn higher income to support their families? Employers sometimes even confiscate OFWs' legal documents and force them to do jobs that are not mentioned in their signed contract.
With the 2022 national elections fast approaching, presidential candidates have expressed their intention to make working abroad an option rather than a necessity. The preference of the candidates is indeed promising, as the government should start improving not just the quantity, but also the quality of jobs in the country.
Working overseas has a detrimental impact on OFW's mental health. As mentioned earlier, they experience homesickness because they work far from their families. In addition, they are not present on important events and occasions of their loved ones, particularly those involving their children. They lack physical connection due to the separation, resulting in their family's resentment and even hostility. According to the study conducted by Graham and Jordan in 2011, the children of overseas workers show little to no change in behavior compared to those raised in normal conditions. The psychology of each child is complex, and the results may vary from a case to case basis. Of course, a physical connection from a parent is an essential part of a child's development. Although we have advanced technology to communicate with our families and children, despite being apart, being with them physically at every milestone they achieve is precious and unforgettable.
Furthermore, maltreatment is a big issue in our OFWs. Other than the recorded 4,302 cases of maltreatment of OFWs in the Middle East, there are also 209 documented cases of sexual abuse and 31 cases of rape. It is only in the Middle East. How much more in other places? Our government has built agencies to help fight for our OFWs' rights. But we know that in this world, justice is hard to come by. If not most, some of the issues of abuse are left unresolved, dismissed, and unheard. The trauma this brings to our OFWs is unimaginable.
But why do OFWs prefer to work overseas despite the challenges they encounter? A study by Tabuga in 2018 observed that on average, an overseas worker received a monthly salary of 44,651 pesos in the year 2018. But like every other job, the salary depends on their position, educational background, and years of experience. Furthermore, the same study by Tabuga also showed that workers that finished a technical vocational course had a below average monthly income of around 31,456 pesos, compared to the average monthly salary of Filipino families working in the country in the same year, around 26,083 pesos. It means that working overseas provide more job opportunities with much better income compared to the Philippines, because OFWs can earn more than 70% or as low as 20% by working overseas. However, their income is divided for themselves and their family, and the problem is that OFWs still have their expenditures abroad. They also need to save money, and sometimes their incomes are not enough to provide for their necessities.
Despite the challenges that overseas Filipino workers experience, they make sacrifices not only for their families, but also for the Philippines, since they contribute significantly to the country's economy. A decrease in their numbers will have a negative impact on our economy. In 2018, Filipino workers overseas contributed 11% of the country's GDP. Furthermore, according to the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, OFWs contribute immensely to our country's domestic growth. It implies that they play a significant role in the country's economy, which means the government must guarantee that the additional employment matches the OFW's contributions to the country's gross national income, or GNI, decreasing the numbers of workers that live or return overseas.
People may often see the success stories of OFWs, such as building a brand new house or starting a multi-million business in the Philippines. However, we must not overlook the fact that the majority of OFWs experience a variety of challenges before they can achieve their success.
Now that a new administration is about to begin, one of its priorities should be making overseas work a choice rather than a necessity. The government must start working on steps to decrease the number of workers we send overseas. It is always best for someone to work for their motherland, in their motherland.